Halo Combat Evolved is officially announced, gaming's worst kept secret, well, at least in this half of the year besides the Oblivion remake. This marks the first time Halo has ever been, the first time, get out of here, Halo has ever been remastered. Not only is it coming to Xbox and PC, it's also coming to PlayStation, which we will talk about a little bit. Halo Combat Evolved is one of the most important video games to me ever. It is the first actual video game that I have ever beaten, and I have so many memories with this game. My brothers and I grew up playing it. We still reference things we talked about way back in the day and jokes we made about the game. So I can't even begin to explain to you guys how important Combat Evolved is for me. Now we have Halo Campaign Evolved, and we will talk about that title, as well as it coming to PlayStation 5, and all the new things, the old things, what's changing, what's staying the same, and maybe sort of dissecting why? We don't know. So stick around to this video and let's chat about Halo Campaign Evolved.
Halo. It's finished.
No. I think we're just getting bricked up.
Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about the name, Halo Campaign Evolved. I think that this is clever in quotations, as in, I feel like they should have named it something a little more... professional's the wrong word. I don't know. I don't actually know how to explain how they should have named it. Maybe just a little more obvious? And like... Anyway, this name is what the community should be calling it. Does that make sense? I feel like this is one of those things where because it's officially named Campaign Evolved and we didn't come up with that, like if it was called Halo Combat Evolved Remastered or something like that, okay, that's not very exciting, but do you need an exciting name? I feel like the community would have started calling it Campaign Evolved, and that's okay. But the fact that Halo Studios named it Campaign Evolved, I don't know, something a little weird about that. And now let's talk about the fact that it's on PlayStation 5 now. I've seen mostly good things coming from the community about this particular fact, and I think that's fantastic. Now, there have been a few instances I've seen of certain tweets from people and even some game developers kind of like lamenting the fact that Xbox is over and that this is upsetting to them, and people are allowed to feel how they feel for sure. Nothing wrong with that in the slightest. However, the writing's been on the wall for so long. And like Phil Spencer has even said in an interview 2 years ago, they lost. They have a different strategy. Console war is over. There's no point to be an Xbox fanboy. There's no point to be any game console fanboy. You can like what you want, but like defending a piece of hardware and a company's business practices, which are almost all horrible across the board, maybe don't do that. But I get it. You're allowed to be upset that like, okay, Halo is on PlayStation 5. Halo is on PlayStation 5. Halo is on PlayStation 5. And I can say that and it sounds crazy, but I think that's good because in my mind for years, Xbox has been dead. Xbox has been dead for years. They gave up. If you feel failed by Xbox now, welcome. And I don't mean that disparagingly. I genuinely mean like, I'm sorry, man, like that sucks. That sucks. Like I get it. I've been there. Everyone has a different threshold for what they're willing to accept or what they even know. Like maybe people didn't even know what's been happening with Xbox throughout all these years. And then they heard Halo's on PS5 and that's what they first learned about Xbox's new strategy. And yeah, I feel awful, but I wouldn't take this as a bad way in any way. Like, do what you need to do to accept that Xbox is pretty much gone and they have a completely different strategy. And then maybe, I can't tell you how to think, but like, I personally feel that this is a good thing. More fans are going to get to experience Halo, and they're going to get to experience a version of Halo that looks pretty freaking good. There are probably not going to be any comments. Well, of course, there's going to be some. It's going to be difficult to make any comments about like, oh, this game looks really outdated or even feels outdated, because that's the thing. Halo 1, like Halo Combat Evolved, didn't feel outdated. I've played it recently and it still feels like a modern shooter in ways. Maybe not a modern shooter with like sprint, which we'll talk about, or certain HUD elements or certain specific, visual and audio feedback type of mechanisms in games, but like, just go, anyone who's watching this video about Halo has probably played Halo for the most part. Go back and play Halo Combat Evolved if you hadn't. You're not going to really feel like, oh, this game is ancient. Like, it's fine. Like, it's great. So now PlayStation fans are going to get to play a version of the game that's hopefully better. And I say hopefully better because let's switch gears here and talk about that. What are they keeping similar? So far, I would say most of the aesthetic looks the same. Most of. There are changes which we'll talk about, but if you were to show me this and not tell me it was Halo Combat Evolved and someone was just like, watch this video, no indicator of what it is, I would immediately know it's Halo Combat Evolved. Like it looks like Halo. I've seen some people talk about the Forerunner structures not looking quite, you know, Halo 1 and looking more Halo Infinite. I am personally fine with that version of taking Infinite assets and putting them in this game. I think Infinite's Forerunner structures looked incredible, and I don't mind seeing them in Halo Combat Evolved. There are certain things coming from Infinite that I wish weren't coming from Infinite, but we'll talk about those in a bit. But for the most part, the aesthetic generally looks the same. There are a lot of original voice lines. There are even some weapon gun sounds that sound the same. And I think for the most part, the general layout and the encounter structure is going to be the same. They did mention something about maybe making some changes, but from what we saw so far in this demo of Silent Cartographer, typically things seem the same. So my point is, it's not a drastic overhaul like the not mentioned Halo Anniversary, the Combat Evolved Anniversary, where it just looked like a totally different game. It didn't even look like it is a Halo game. This looks like a Halo game. We hear Foehammer's lines and the encounters seem the same, and we get all those wonderful bits that we remember from our childhood. That's all we can tell for now. Halo 343. Halo Studios has said that they're really making conscious decisions on what they change and why. I am skeptical of this for a couple of reasons, because they do specifically state that they want to stay as true to the original form as possible, or something along those lines. They don't want to be changing things for the sake of change. There's got to be a deliberate reason, although I can think of a couple things right now that do just seem changed for the sake of change, and we'll talk about those, but they say that. So I feel like we're at least going to get a better attempt at getting a game that is more true to Halo Combat Evolved in a modern time. Now, if I think of anything else that they kept the same, we'll come back to it, but for the most part, you guys know Combat Evolved and you saw the gameplay and you're seeing it on screen here. So let's talk about what they are changing now. Immediately right off the bat, 32 round assault rifle. I have no idea why they would do this. Now, granted, I am not as irritated about this as some content creators that I've seen, and again, not talking smack. I think everyone's entitled to their opinion. This just isn't as big of a deal to me, but it is strange. It's strange because they're like saying, we're only going to change things if there's a really good reason for, or that's the sentiment. Now, they say that and then immediately pull out an assault rifle that's 32 rounds. What is the deeply thought of reason that they changed that? Like, I just don't get it. It's not that I'm mad about it. It's just we're talking about the changes and we're talking about what Halo Studios has said. And they said they're not just going to be changing things willy-nilly. But then what? A little more egregious, in my opinion, is the weapon sounds. Again, this is nothing that's going to prevent me from buying this game or playing it. I just noticed that you pull out an assault rifle with 32 rounds, and the assault rifle, it doesn't sound like the Halo 1 version. I say Halo 1, I apologize. Combat Evolved. Maybe it's just mixed differently? You guys let me know. Do you guys think it sounds like the Halo Combat Evolved assault rifle, or is it just mixed differently? It still was kind of deep, but it didn't have that like really deep, beefy chain gun sound the original assault rifle had. It sounds like kind of like a chain gun or something. And this, I didn't quite hear it. The pistol, so the Magnum, it sounds a little weaker. It's in there somewhere, but it sounds weaker. It sounds more like Halo 2's Magnum or Halo 3's Magnum or something. Yeah, I'm not quite getting the Halo 1, like, the sound draws out, it echoes. It's so loud that it echoes even outside, and you can hear it trailing across the fields. And not only do you hear the initial burst, but you hear the heavy mechanism of the gun, and you hear the bullet impact, and then you hear the explosion shortly after. And I wasn't quite getting that. Maybe I'm glazing that too much, or maybe I'm just like remembering that with rose-tinted glasses a little too much or something. But yeah, I wasn't quite getting Halo Combat Evolved Magnum out of that. The plasma pistol sounds good, at least in my opinion from what I heard in the gameplay. The plasma rifle sounds really different, cool, but different, and looks really different to me. I don't know, is it just like there's like something else on the edge? They added a little bit of modeling to like the end of the gun for some reason or something. Take that off. No reason for that. You don't need to change that. Just keep it as is. We haven't had a plasma rifle in a Halo game for a very long time. Please don't mess this up. Please, just don't do anything different. Just give us a plasma rifle in a Halo game, please. Okay? A couple other things that I noticed were different was it seems like the elites are a different model, perhaps, and maybe the grunts are a little bit different of a model. Maybe Halo Infinite assets, and Hidden Xperia has talked about this in his videos, and I tend to agree with him. Initially, I didn't. He was saying that he doesn't want to see Halo Infinite assets in Campaign Evolved. Now, at first I was like, yeah, but it's not a big deal because Halo Infinite's assets were good. Then he started to explain a little bit more of the reasons why. Part of the identity of Combat Evolved is the fact that Marines look like they're straight out of Alien and Colonial Marine type style, and these Marines look different. And the elites, while they look great in Halo Infinite, they're not the elites that are in Halo Combat Evolved. And I get what he's saying. And it's not that so much that I agree with each individual point that he's making, so much as it is the fact that when they add up, here's what comes to mind. You guys already messed up. And not you guys, Halo Studios, 343. They already messed up a Halo remake. And then they did a pretty good one with Halo 2 Anniversary. Combat Evolved Anniversary. A travesty. It's a travesty. You already messed that up. Not many games get a second chance to remake an all-time classic game. This is your second chance. So while I don't individually agree with like the elites are too different, this is a little too different, things that I don't normally think about, when they add up, it starts to make me feel like Halo Studios, you better not mess this up. Like, you cannot mess this up. If these are things that you're Halo content creators are complaining about, perhaps listen to them. Perhaps hear them out. Okay? That's all that I'm saying, because we really can't mess up a Halo game again. Not just a Halo game, a Halo remake. And a Halo game for that matter. Good lord, Halo's been awful for so long. Even though there's parts of Infinite that I like. Another change that they added Sprint. Why not just do Combat Evolved with a new coat of paint? Keep the sounds, maybe remaster them a little bit, but don't change things too much. Don't make the assault rifle 32 rounds for no reason, but do some other things that they're doing. So they're making some other changes that are pretty freaking cool. Now, let's talk about the positive things. First of all, this could go either way. So I reserve the right to change my opinion on this, but they are adding 3 missions. I think what they could do with a Halo 1 remake is add. There's so much lore that happens in books and comics and other areas of Halo, other mediums of Halo, during or slightly before Combat Evolved that could be added. There's things that Bungie wanted to do with Combat Evolved that they cut. And I think this is just like, if you're going to make any changes, Halo Studios, this is ripe for the picking. And it seems like they know that and they're doing this. Now, I was a little curious to learn that they're doing 3 prequel missions with Chief and Johnson. And while that sounds just like a freaking rip-roaring good time to me, there's other things that I thought that they would maybe do. There's things Chief did on Halo during Combat Evolved that I think could possibly be interesting, and there's other things going on, and maybe they're keeping this a secret, but I thought it might be a really good idea to like maybe add some Thel lore. You know, the Arbiter, the reason what happens to him in Halo 2 happens to him is because of what he was responsible for in Combat Evolved. So I do hope that they maybe just didn't say it, but they do add at least something about Thel. But regardless, we are getting 3 campaign missions with Chief and Sergeant Johnson. That sounds freaking sweet. That sounds awesome to me. I can't even imagine what that's going to be like, but I do imagine that I'm going to be quoting it very, very often. One change they made is a little weird is the HUD, but the reason I'm putting this more in the positive section is because you can just change it back. From what I've heard from Hidden Xperia and a couple other people is there is a setting in the menu where you can just go in and just set it back to what's essentially the Combat Evolved original HUD. They added a little bit of ADS for probably like the assault rifle and weapons that don't have a scope, like the sniper and the Magnum. And these changes don't bother me so much. It's not that I don't understand why people don't like them. I just personally, this isn't going to affect my enjoyment of the game. Oh, and another thing that they're changing, and I think this is good, I think this has the potential to be good. Here's why it's good. Turn your monitor off. Jen Taylor and Steve Downs, they're coming back. They're re-recording dialogue, maybe to sound a little bit more updated, how maybe Bungie wanted them to sound. Maybe they were directed in a way, I don't know, you know, Halo Studios has said they have all the assets, all the storyboards, all everything, probably all the scripts, maybe even all the direction notes. And, you know, Halo Combat Evolved was a pretty scrappy game. You know, they had funding and stuff like that, but like, they cut a lot. I think this has the potential for some new performances that are exciting. I noticed in the Silent Cartographer gameplay, there's already a new Cortana line, which is pretty cool, talking about like ancient texts and symbols or something. Maybe at the very least, we'll get some more lore on the audio side of things. So maybe Cortana will be a little bit chattier. Maybe Chief won't be super chatty, but like have one or two more lines. And I think that could be good. The reason I think it's potential is because it could also be bad. We might just miss the original voice lines, but from what I heard, they sound similar enough, because you do hear some Jen Taylor lines, some Cortana lines that have been, like, you can tell they're re-recorded, but they still sound just fine. But a lot of the voice lines are the same. The original ones, I think, that from like the Marines, Foehammer, I think maybe Keys is original, and like the grunt sounds and like all the things they say, Joseph Staten, like I think it's all original. So that's a good thing that they're doing, is changing some things but keeping some things original. Another reason I think that's good is because it's just good to see Steve Downes still in this and to see Jen Taylor still in this. They really seem like they love Halo, and that they're really grateful for being in this experience and for how much we love them. Like, I can pretty confidently speak for every Halo fan that we love Steve Downes and Jen Taylor, and we wouldn't want it any other way. So absolutely fantastic to see them back. Okay, so if I missed anything, I'll talk about it in another video, but let's move on to some other things now. I want to talk a little bit about the Unreal Engine 5 and what they're doing. I think they're using the Reach version of the Blam engine or something as the brain, and the Unreal Engine 5 as the body. Similar to how the Oblivion remake or remaster used the Creation engine as the brain and Unreal Engine 5 as the body. Now, if you've played that, it ain't pretty. And I don't mean it's not visually pretty, I mean the experience is not pretty. I haven't played the Oblivion remaster since I moved to Japan. However, the last time I did play it, it was still running horribly, and before I had to sell it to move here, I had a pretty bitchin' computer. Like, I had a pretty sweet computer. Yeah, it still couldn't even run it. So now we have Halo, which is, probably a smaller game, I would say, in general, because it's not just one giant world rendered. But yeah, from what I saw in the gameplay, you got those classic Unreal Engine 5 artifacts that are just going to frustrate me. Now, keep in mind, this game is a year out. We're probably getting it. They didn't give us a date, but I'm assuming it's going to be the fall or winter of 2026. And they have time. They have time to polish things up, but to have a demo that was curated for content creators to play and show to the world, and it still had these issues, real stuttery at times, entire sections where it just pauses for 4 seconds and then loads in to whatever you have done in the last 4 seconds that you didn't see, to the weird jittery flickery effects of anything that has to do with light. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now, and you can let me know if you think I'm crazy or not. I think that the elite shields, when you shoot them, and that the jackal shields just in general look atrocious. I would rather have the actual Halo Combat Evolved asset just like loosely pasted on top of that, and it would look better to me. The lighting artifacts in the Unreal Engine 5 can just be so it's so screwy, and it's just not enjoyable to look at. And then like when you see the heating effects of the Pelican coming in, some of it looked okay, but then you start to realize that's not intentional. That's an artifact of like a fire effect. Like, that's not supposed to look like the heat waves rippling the air. That's a mistake. And there's just so much of that in this gameplay, and so much pop in, and the rocks look soft and certain things like that. But like, for the most part, I'm going to stop complaining about it here, because that's really my only complaints about how it looks. Otherwise, I think it looks incredible. The lighting is good, besides certain lighting effects. The environment does look fantastic, minus some things looking a little soft when they should look harder. And I think the Forerunner structures look good. I think the environment looks good. It's amazing to see just that kind of island beach look so modern and good, and your Master Chief riding around and everything, and it looks incredible. That's just my little nitpick about the Unreal Engine 5. I really hope they not only fix those silly little effects and outlines around things that move, like your gun when you move it, but more importantly, over those things, I hope it can just be a locked 60 frames when this launches. No hiccups. I don't want to set foot on Assault in the control room, be amazed by how the snow looks and the footprints, but yeah, it would look a lot better at something higher than 37 frames per second. That would be cool. Like, I want solid 60 at the least. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about the negative sides of how it looks. The positive sides about how it looks. Master Chief, I think, looks insanely good. Oh, this is going to be awful to say this. People are going to like be upset about this. I've always thought the Combat Evolved version of Master Chief's kind of cute. Like his outfit's like, oh, you got a little suit. That's cool. You know, like he still looks cool, but he's just proportionally a little puffy, you know, like he looks like a guy in a spacesuit as opposed to like what he looks like in Infinite or even Halo 2, where he looks a little bit more like a super soldier. You know, that's blasphemous to say. I'm sure some people are going to be mad, but that's just my opinion.
Deal with it!
I think they found the perfect balance of making it look like the Combat Evolved Mjolnir, but also looking more in line with what his armor might change to look like in Halo 2. Does that make sense? A little more fit, a little more trimmed, some really cool bits and bobs. There's really cool accents, even though the elites are like, you know, perhaps infinite elites and things like that, and the Marines are infinite Marines. Like, at least they look good. Like, I think everything does look good and nice and sound. We have not seen Cortana, but we have seen concept art of Cortana that I'll put on the screen here, and I think this would be a much better, more consistent look for Cortana. And it's not necessarily because like, oh yeah, make her hotter. It's like, yeah, I mean, like in the subsequent games we got hotter Cortana. The thing is Cortana just has looked the way she's looked for so much longer than how she looked in Combat Evolved, where she's purple and kind of has that short haircut and completely different looking face. So I kind of hope that whatever this concept art is more the version of Cortana we're going to get that we go on to see in Halo 2 and Halo 3. I think the guns do look good. Besides the plasma rifle having that weird thing on the end of it, and the plasma pistol I think looks different. It's got that like weird little hook on the end of it. I just don't know why they do that. Everything looks good to my eye for the most part. The Magnum does look incredible. And the animations look similar too. I think for the most part the animations are the same, but maybe updated. I can't quite tell, but I did notice Chief whacks a grunt with the Magnum, flips it back into his hand as God intended. I think that the Hunter animations were the same. The Elite animations look similar. The way they just kind of dive out of the way and roll and hit the wall, and it's a little janky looking, but I kind of want to keep that. I'd like to keep that. If they do update any animations, I still think that's fine. That's not a game-ending change to me that would really upset me. But for the most part, I think it's cool that they're keeping a lot of the same animations. A lot's being added, a lot is changing, unfortunately. But I think most of the important things are being kept the same, as long as Halo Studios does not go overboard and does not repeat Combat Evolved Anniversary. They have mentioned a little bit about the Flood. I think the Flood is a supremely important part of Halo, and I dearly miss the Flood in games. From what they showed a little bit. I really think the Flood are going to be sweet in this, solely based off of one of the models that you see in the background, one of the models that they show kind of up front, which is actually one of the tank forms, I believe, from Halo 3, which I don't know how they're going to explain how those are around here, but maybe it doesn't matter, maybe it does. I don't know, but it is going to be interesting to see them in the campaign as a little bit of an added challenge. But the one thing I saw that I think is just so cool, there's a little quick snippet where you can tell someone is placing an infection form, or the spore forms, I forget the names. He's placing one of those into a jungle, and he pulls the camera out, and you see this moody ass moonlighting coming through these spooky ass trees. And I am just so freaking excited for the level 343 Guilty Spark. I can't even begin to explain how the game looking this good is going to make that level feel if they nail the atmosphere. And they talked about atmosphere, and they talked about doing this right. So Halo Studios, I'm holding you to your word. I really am hoping to be just completely spooked and delighted by 343 Guilty Spark. And I can't wait to see the snow effects in Assault in the Control Room. Can't wait to see what they might change, if anything, about the repetitive levels. So, you know, as most of you guys watching this know, 2 Betrayals is just Assault in the Control Room backwards with a little bit of changes. And the Maw is just pretty much Pillar of Autumn, but a little bit different, you know, obviously different, not in space, it's crashed, reused levels for the most part. I'm curious to see how they might change it. I'm actually open to it, as long as the vibe of 2 Betrayals is similar, because I love that level, as I love pretty much every level besides the library. As long as the vibe of it is the same, I think we're in good shape. Even if they change things, make some combat areas a little bit bigger, I wouldn't even mind in like 2 Betrayals and Assault on the Control Room, where you have those wide open areas with the huge snowy canyons on the side. I wouldn't mind if they added more combat encounters, maybe a second Wraith, maybe a couple more grunts riding around in ghosts, or a couple more elites sneaking up on you, like the invisible elites or something. I think that might add to the challenge and make it a little bit more fleshed out feeling. But for the most part, I think from what they're saying, they're on the right track. I'm just a little nervous because they are saying things and immediately contradicting it before our eyes with changes that don't seem like they have a point. That's what I think about that. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. I'll probably do another video, even though this one's probably like almost 30 minutes long. I don't even know how long it is, but I'll be talking about Halo Combat Evolved or Halo Campaign Evolved much more. For the most part, how I'm feeling about it, I think I am excited, but I am keeping my expectations tempered. Xbox and Halo has done nothing but disappoint me for the last 10 years. So forgive me if I'm a little hesitant to be jumping for joy right now, but I will say I am letting my guard down a little bit, and I'm pretty excited from what I saw. I think this has the potential to be really good, and let me know if you think the library has any chance of being anything other than a complete horrible time. Anyways, guys, I'll leave you with that. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Smack that like button like it's your lady's booty cheeks, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.